Hello, everybody. I'd like to start off by saying thank you so much for coming to this performance. This isn't going to be a typical show. I'm literally taking excerpts from my journal entries, polishing them up a bit, and reciting them for you. My name is Kelsy Carson. I'm 25 years old. I love dogs, spaghetti, the moon, and the art of theater, to basically put it in a box. The happiest time of my life was probably when I graduated from EOU in 2014. I rocked my senior recital that previous fall. Evil Dead, what up? I was on a high from playing one of my favorite characters in Rabbit Hole that winter, and I was in a very, very, very healthy relationship. I was the definition of happy. The following winter is when shit hit the fan, and I had no idea why I wasn't happy with the things that previously made me happy. I was newly engaged, I was one class away from completing my degree, and I was in another show at Eastern. What couldn't I be happy about, right? My fiance and I started fighting all the time. I didn't know how to explain to him that I didn't know why I was feeling the things I was feeling, and I didn't know why I wasn't happy anymore. Seeing him so upset by my confusion would only make me want to bottle up my emotions more. I strive off of other people's happiness, and I love being the source of other people's happiness. So when I felt like I was being taken over by these confusing emotions, I was only making those around me not happy. So I bottled up my emotions. I would cry for hours, not being able to stop. I would hyperventilate. I would scream so loud that the next day I wouldn't even be able to whisper. No one really noticed the changes I was going through. I did my best to put on a smile, keep focusing on whatever I was distracting myself with, and barely scratch the surface emotionally with my closest friends. And because of that facade, I lost a few close friends. I lost trust with my family and those close to me, and I kept digging a bigger and bigger hole with every day that passed. The first time I tried to commit suicide was Christmas Eve of 2014. That was just 11 days after being proposed to. I remember getting ready to go over to my mother's house for dinner. I went down to the basement and made a makeshift noose with audio cable cords. I didn't really know what I was doing, but felt like the answer. I hung it over one of the rafters, pulled up a stool, and put my head through the noose. I just stood there for like 5 minutes, trying not to cry, and I kicked the stool out of the way. The cable tightened up around my neck, and I just felt myself choking. I didn't have enough force to break anything, and I felt stupid. I felt worse than I did before. I grabbed onto the next rafter. I gave myself some slack. I untied the cable and walked upstairs to get ready to go to my mom's house, and no one knew. No one said anything. No one knew. This picture is about 2 hours after that attempt. I attempted suicide 7 more times until something finally spoke to me, telling me that I couldn't handle this alone anymore. I still can't tell you what that was that spoke to me. I don't want to call it a ray of light. It wasn't a voice. It wasn't some divine moment. I think for the first time in almost 2 years, logic finally got a turn to control my brain. For almost 2 years, I only had wild emotions run the show, and logic took the back burner. After my last attempt, I woke up and went straight into a walk-in clinic. Just saying the words, "I have suicidal thoughts," to a complete stranger was so unnatural yet so liberating at the same time. The more I said it, the more I felt the weight of the world come off my shoulders. The next day, after I went to go get help, my fiance and I broke up. For various reasons that I don't need to go into, that wouldn't be fair, but we did. What I can say is that we both wanted different things out of life that neither of us wanted for ourselves. We had come to an impasse. We could either stay unhappy, but with the comfort of one another, or we could see what being alone and happy looked like. And needless to say, that didn't really help my suicidal thoughts. But I knew it was for the best, and my survival counted on me separating myself from it all. I was prescribed citalopram on December 1st, 2016. I'm still on it. I'm happier. I can learn how to cope with the not so good emotions. I can easily say that this has been an essential tool in my survival. Moving out was hard. I knew I wouldn't ever have that same friendship with him again, and I knew that this was the end. And I felt so guilty the entire time. All I wanted out of life was to graduate school, to get married, to have a dog family, to just be normal. And once that was presented to me, I didn't want it anymore. And I didn't know why I didn't want it. So guilt definitely was a huge factor in my manic moments. I felt guilty for feeling bad because in turn that made everyone around me feel bad. And that only made me feel worse. So I felt guilty for lying. I felt just not good. Going to therapy once every other week along with the medication really made me realize what I wanted from my life. I wasn't accountable to anyone anymore. I wasn't anxious about every single word that left my mouth, worried that I would hurt someone's feelings. My goal in therapy was to no longer second guess or have second thoughts about my actions. Evaluate them, yes, but be confident in my decisions and confident in knowing in what I need in life. That mindset alone has made me a much more relaxed person from the inside out, more focused and more forgiving of myself. I have learned what overwhelms me emotionally. I have learned that it is okay to be selfish. I know what my triggers are. I learned how to organize my thoughts when I am having a rough day, which those still happen. I have not had a suicidal thought in 4 months. I'm on the right track to being where I want to be. I have surrounded myself with people that care about me. I no longer feel the need to apologize for being myself. I feel like I can keep up with the world around me, and I feel like it's time to start the next chapter of my life. So, with all of that said, that is my story in a nutshell. I mean, super nutshell story. This show will explain the ups and downs of dealing with everything that has happened to me for the last few years. If you need someone to talk to, that's such a shallow fucking saying, but if you need someone to talk to, please know I'm always an ear. In the depths of the really bad times, I would think about calling someone, texting someone. But that monster of depression, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, would convince you that they don't care. You're not worth them worrying about. So I understand that's a very simple-minded thing to say, is, hey, if you need someone to talk to, I'm always around. Anyone is around. But if you're watching this, I care about you. And I really needed someone to tell me that when I was going through stuff, that they cared about me. And I care about you. So, enjoy the show.